I believe books can help you enjoy life more, and some of them can help you stay safe as well. Going to share three this morning. An older book, Fighting to Win, another older book, Seeds of Greatness, and then the most recent Vince Flynn book that I finished, Memorial Day. Welcome to Coffee with Alain. I have my Les Mis cup, or one of my Les Mis cups this morning, which is a fantastic novel. If you've never read the classic by Victor Hugo, it is a book that I really enjoyed. You can read the unabridged version, which is huge. Also has a lot of the things that are going on in France at the time. Or you can read the abridged version, which cuts out some of that history and political things and such that are going on and just focuses on Jean Valjean, Cosette, and the other main characters. I read the unabridged version first, and since then I have read the abridged version when I just wanted to read the story about the characters. And I've seen most of the movies and the television series, and of course I've seen the musical a number of times, both in Asia, Canada, and the United States. So I guess I've seen the musical in 3 different countries. This cup actually came from the time we saw it up in Calgary, Canada, which was the first time we took our daughter to one of the productions. She was finally old enough to see the play, and obviously she was named Cosette after this musical and book and story. So this cup was that first time that she got to see it live. And it just reminds me of a great story. If you have not read Les Mis, that's a book that you should put on your list as well. Let's talk about today's books. This is an older book that, I got back in the 1980s, early 1980s when I was in high school, Fighting to Win by David J. Rogers, Samurai Techniques for Your Work and Life. And this is one of the first books where I started looking at the martial arts that I was studying and interested in, and not just the physical part of the martial arts, but I had always been fascinated with Asia and the philosophies of martial arts. And this book helped with that in how those principles and some of the things learning in the martial arts could apply to business and daily life, and probably set me on the path to developing the warrior's edge, which I teach and promote today. The warrior's edge is the edge you get in life by living with honor and dedication and training and the philosophies found in the warrior traditions, and especially the martial arts and Asian martial arts that I've studied. But it's not just in Asian martial arts. Sometimes I bring in lessons from the knights of Europe, or the warriors that lived here in America, the Native American warriors, and the philosophies they taught. So it's not always just Asia, but my biggest focus is on Asia. And this book, Samurai Techniques, focused on Japanese martial arts and samurai philosophy. And it was the start of me applying martial arts to life. And it's sort of been interwoven since then, and will continue until the day I die. And so this book really instrumental in getting me started in that way back in the early 1980s. I don't know if it's still available. You might have to find used copies or something somewhere out there, but it was a good book. Really enjoyed it. And it has shaped a lot of what I've done throughout my life. Next book, also from the early 80s, and has a huge influence on my life, and that's Seeds of Greatness by Denis Waitley. Now, this is a paperback version. In high school, one of the guidance counselors gave me a hardcover of this book, loaned it to me, and said, "I think you'd like this." And that was the first introduction to Denis Waitley that I had there in high school. And I read the Seeds of Greatness, that hardcover book, and gave it back, to the counselor. But I really enjoyed it, and I liked the principles that Denis taught in this book. And then I learned that he had other books and audio programs and I have been a fan of Denis Waitley's ever since. Throughout the years, I've read just about every book that he's written, and I've listened to most of the audio programs. I have a bunch of them over here on the bookshelf in cassette, and I still listen to them today. I have cassette players because a lot of my instructional and informational materials are on cassette, and I haven't been able to upgrade all of them. I do have a converter, so sometimes I get the cassette programs out, and as I'm listening to them, I've been putting them digitally and saving them on the computer, a digital file as well, so I can listen to them that way. But this was the first Denis Waitley book I read in the early 80s during high school. Have read just about everything he's put out, listened to just about everything he's put out, have enjoyed his audios, have enjoyed his videos, have enjoyed his books. The man taught and teaches just practical, good philosophies for living life. And if you incorporate what he teaches into your life, you are undoubtedly going to have a more enriched, better, successful life. I really like the programs I have where he and Jim Rohn were teaching together at some of the Jim Rohn events. I have those on audio and on DVD, and you get to see Jim Rohn speaking, you get to see Denis Waitley speaking, and some of the other greats. Incredible programs, such incredible knowledge presented for people to absorb and act upon. Because again, it's worthless if you don't act upon it to make your life and others' lives better. So highly recommend stuff by Denis Waitley. And the last book we'll talk about today, the most recent Vince Flynn novel that I have finished. As most of you know, if you've been watching these shows, I've been reading Vince Flynn a lot this year, going through, a collection of Vince Flynn books that I have. And this one I really enjoyed. There are a couple places in here where the hero, Mitch Rapp, just lays into some of the politicians and some of their rules and this or that they're wanting to abide by, not realizing that they're in the way of saving millions of lives. I won't give too much of the story away, but it centers around a nuclear bomb that will be detonated in the United States. And it's up to Mitch and a few other special ops and the CIA and military working together to prevent these nuclear weapons from being detonated in the United States, killing millions of people. And there are certain politicians that want to get in the way. And I just love it when Mitch Rapp lays into them and tells them how it is and how things really get done when you're dealing with radicals that want to terrorize and inflict violence on innocent people. Because sometimes the only way you can stop them is with overwhelming violence yourself, which Mitch is very good at if you've read these books. So just a fun, action-filled, good read. So I enjoyed this one a lot. Looking forward to the next ones I read. I'm going to just keep reading some of these series. So those are the 3 books today. I want to say good morning to Dixon. Dixon has a comment here. It says, looks like you're pointing at a blank wall. Remember, there are no bookshelves visible behind you. Yeah, it's over here on the side. So if you were in this office, sure, I got the wood screen behind me, but from here all the way back and back around and all the way up to this side, bookshelves. I mean, I have 32 5 and 6 foot bookshelves in the house. Most of them are down here in the office space. Some of them are upstairs, and they're all completely full. And I still have boxes of books that don't fit on the bookshelves. However, I made a promise to my wife a couple of years ago that I would get rid of more books than I buy each year. And I've been sticking true to that. I buy a lot of books, but I've been getting rid of a lot. One of the reasons I'm reading the Vince Flynn books is this is a series I'm not going to keep. I'm getting rid of a lot of fiction. So I'm reading fiction and then I go trade them off or donate them to the library, do something good with them so somebody else can enjoy. So I'm not keeping a lot of fiction after I read them. Now, there are some fiction books I've read. I'm reading them again and then getting rid of them. But I'm clearing out a lot of the fiction. And so that's why I've been doing a lot of Vince Flynn. This will be going to the used bookstore soon. And books that don't aren't accepted by the used bookstore, they go down to the library, and I donate them down to the library. But there are bookshelves over here, Dixon. One of these days I'll do it without the screen and show all the bookshelves, right? And you can go to some videos on YouTube and see me in the office with the bookshelves behind me. But thank you for that comment. Thank you for joining, Dixon. So one last time, a recap before I leave. Fighting to Win. Book from the early 80s on samurai techniques and principles and applying them to your work and life, which sort of started me along the path that has become your warrior's edge, the edge you get by living a warrior's lifestyle and incorporating warrior principles into your life. Seeds of Greatness, first Denis Waitley book I read. Great man, great knowledge. Enjoyed all of his books and audio programs and video programs that I have done throughout the years. And this is one that started it all, given to me, loaned to me by a high school guidance counselor in high school back in the 80s. And that started me on, devouring Denis Waitley's materials and learning a lot from him. And Memorial Day, just a fun, action-filled thriller by Vince Flynn. And it's just awesome to see Mitch Rapp, lay into some of these politicians and tell them how it is. So those are the 3 books this week. Hope you can maybe check those books out and you'll enjoy them. Or maybe I've inspired you to go check out a different book or read something that you enjoy. And if you do, let me know what they are. Maybe I'll put them on my reading list, and I appreciate that. One thing you might want to read, go to enjoylifesafely.com. Put your email in there. You'll be signed up for the upcoming newsletters, and you'll get 25 safety and self-defense tips, a little ebook that will help you stay safe and be prepared to defend yourself if you have to. You'll also get a free guide to situational awareness, an ebook, and 4 videos on situational awareness to help you stay safe. Until tomorrow, have a spectacular Saturday.